this sort of wrestling, which was the brainchild of Paul Heyman, was designed to cater to the super quote unquote smart hardcore fan. And I think you could probably say the exact same thing about AEW today, which is why, guys like Will Ospreay and Okada come over to AEW and do the type of performances they do.
Yeah, I agree with everything you say. I think we're right on that. And I find it very interesting that you would mention Paul Heyman's name and catering in the same sentence. Take a look at.
Oh, I did. I didn't mean it
Yeah.
like that,
Okay.
but yeah.
Okay.
Take a look. What? I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just taking a look at again. They've already had a pin. They may have had 2 pinfalls so far, but it's one of the things that made these two guys great was their seemingly endless energy.
Yes.
It seemed like the match would go on and on and on and on, and they were still in phenomenal shape. I know you can see Ray's breathing heavy here, but their energy and they didn't slow down at all. Listen, it's just common. It's logical that guys, when they wrestle, they continue to just lose something, right? You're not the same wrestler when the bell rings as you were at the end of, especially like a 20, 25-minute match. But you look at these guys, you're thinking the bell just rung. Just absolutely amazing athletes, cardiovascular training, just amazing. Really is. Now, let's see. Coach Keith is right over here, this side somewhere. And I don't see him anywhere. Well, let's see if there's anybody asleep here on this side. There's not. Well, we know you're there, Coach Keith. And we appreciate you always being here with us in the mornings when we record this broadcast, this podcast.
Isn't it interesting? A friend of mine, when I first started watching ECW, I was in high school and I was telling my buddies about it and they started to watch it. And one of my friends at school said, "Hey, why do they have referees?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, you can't get disqualified. I mean, guys come to the ring smoking cigarettes and drinking beers and hitting people with canes, and nobody gets disqualified."
Mm-hmm.
There was even a referee. There was a spot once towards the end of '96 where a ref gave one of their other wrestlers a DDT, and he's like, "So why are they there?"
Yeah.
And I go, I don't think we're supposed to ask questions like that. I think we're just supposed to enjoy the show and not think too much about it. And I know that that's been an issue at different times in wrestling where people would say, "Well, that wasn't making any logical sense." And it's like, what about wrestling makes any fucking logical sense anyway?
Mm. Yeah, if you're looking for logic, go to another sport.
Go watch politics. Go watch political debate. See if you find anything.
Yeah. Go watch the NBA or watch college basketball and see all the fights that they're having and see what's logical about that.
Well, it's funny you say watch basketball because, Alabama somehow, some way is in the Final Four. I can't believe that's the thing.
Yeah.
But we were actually watching the other day, and my mom was watching with me. Dad was supposed to be, but Dad fell asleep on the couch. So we're watching, and one of the Bama players went to set up to take a charge. And Mom says, "Oh, look at this silly shit." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "That boy just fell over. He didn't get knocked down." And I go, "Yeah, Mom, he was taking a foul." She goes, "Well, it looks stupid. Why would he do that? Why wouldn't he just try to block the shot?" I said, "Well, they got the ball back. It drew a foul. It's the right way to do it." She goes, "So in basketball, you just pretend to fall too?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Does every sport you watch have people pretending to fall?" I go, "Well, that's actually a fair question, Mom. But yeah, he did that on purpose."
Yeah. Well, do you watch soccer? Because they pretend to fall there too.
They pretend to fall in everything.
Yeah. Of course they do. And yeah, your mom was right. I think it's interesting. I think it says a lot about the Alabama fan, your dad. He would never sleep if Alabama football had a chance to go to the national championship.
No.
During the game. But he was asleep during one of the biggest basketball games ever for Alabama, maybe the biggest, right?
It was the biggest, yes. The first ever appearance for Alabama in the Final Four.
Yeah.
He was awake at the end, of course.
Yeah.
But there during the game, he just got comfortable on that couch, and after he'd been in the sun all day, Lord, he was no match for that couch.
Juventud pulled the safety rail towards the ring so he could do the
Just jump
moonsault
right in the crowd.
right in the crowd.
Can you imagine? Like, it's really weird to think about. And I know there were a handful of lawsuits, but you
There
would
were?
think this would be more litigious. Oh yeah, a couple of fans sued.
Okay. Well, of course.
You know, that they decided once upon a time we're going to hit somebody with a flaming chair. And you
Mm,
might be asking yourself, how do you get a chair to catch on fire? Well, you tie a towel around it, you douse it in kerosene, and then you light it up. But
mhm.
guess what? When you go to swing it, well, the fire has burned through the rag, so it's no longer holding on, and it just goes a flying.
Mm.
So if you send flaming things into the crowd, they don't like that. You see,
Yeah, I can see that. But I can also see if you're familiar with what's going on here, I can also see that you are have to realize that you may be a part of it. I don't
well, I
think.
think that's why you go because you want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I
And then
think
of course again, people probably sue just they're looking for the win the lottery. Look at that
isn't that
bomb
amazing?
off. It's so again, now they're taking a little break here to catch their breath, but when they go back to wrestling, it's so fluid and so fast and just um I'm
It's like the lighter guys in boxing. You know, the
yes,
bantamweights and the
right, right.
flyweights. I mean, they're just pop,
Yeah,
pop, 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 nonstop compared to a more lumbering heavyweight bout.
yeah. Jesus.
Isn't that crazy? A
If you're
press
not
all the way slam.
if you're not watching with us right now, would behoove you to go watch this on your
S-
own.
So far ahead of its time, Tony. What we're watching is nearly 30 years old.
Wow.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is crazy.
I mean, because this match, if they aired it on Dynamite, people would eat it up.
Yo, my
But it
God.
was 30 years ago.
Yeah. People will be chanting, "This is awesome," and
Right
AE dub.
forever.
Yeah, AE dub, AE dub, stuff like that.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was such an ECW fan. My friends and I, we were such goofs. But if anything like fell, like, you know, you've been in a restaurant before and maybe one of the servers drops a tray and the glasses break and, you know, there's some plates break and all that jazz.
Mhm.
Some of my numbskull friends would start an ECW chant in the restaurant because these fans are so Pavlovian with there's a big table spot immediately ECW, ECW.
Yeah.
I'd love to let you hear some of that, but Tony and I got enough cease and desist orders from WWE that we can no longer track any audio from the
Mm,
Peacock Network. So if you're wondering why you're not hearing that ECW chant right now, because that's what they're doing,
yeah.
well, now you know why.
And that's a shame too, to be honest with you, because I think just an opinion here. I think you and I have helped draw attention to a lot of the stuff on the network.
That's why Bruce is back with WWE, bud.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
they gave us a show on the network because
right.
we could steer enough people there, but you know, there's regime changes and the left hand doesn't know what the right hand doing and whatever nameless
Right.
faceless lawyer he doesn't know. But this is one
Right.
of the more iconic moments in ECW arena history.